Hi guys, welcome back. This is Sean from Play by Pause, and today I'm so excited to share this video because we have the opportunity to get early access on the Sony FX3 from Sony Malaysia. In this video, we're not going to do a spec by spec or detailed breakdown on the Sony FX3. Yet, we're gonna use this camera on the real world by creating a commercial for Banana Fighter, which is a company that focuses on activewear or athleisure. This commercial was shot entirely with the Sony FX3 with the native E-mount lens. And we're gonna output two different formats. First is the 16 linear RAW from the Atomos Ninja V versus the internal 42210 bit from the Sony FX3. And we're gonna share this comparison in the next video. So remember to subscribe our channel and remember to turn on the notification button so that you won't miss out this video. I believe there's a lot of review out there mention that the a7S III and the Sony FX3 share the same technology or similar feature, which I have to agree with that. Yet, there's a few unique features from the FX3 which I believe is quite interesting, and I'll share it in this behind the scene video. For today's video, we're going to use Sony FX3s paired with their native E-mount lens. Special shout out to Sony Malaysia for not only sending us the FX3s, they also sent us one of their latest G Master 35mm f1.4. You can check out the final image throughout this whole video because we're going to use a lot of this focal lengths in this video. So there's no surprise that I'm a gimbal lover, and you guys already know that. For this project, we're going to use gimbal as well, and I'm going to use the Gene Crane 2 for this particular project. So as you can see, the Sony FX3 is a very small camera, and you can pretty much just attach it to the gimbal easily without much problems. And you can also detach it, go for the handheld mode. So this camera itself has a 5-axis stabilization, so you can pretty much get a fairly stable shots. But not only that, not only hardware, you can always rely on the software itself as well, because now we have a new technology from the Sony where they can already have a built-in gyro stabilizations, and you can pair it with their catalyst browse, which you can get even more stables out of it. Besides that, this project we're going to use a lot of E-mount lens, so you can really fully utilize their eye autofocus technology, and there's no doubt that Sony is very famous on that. Especially when you pair your G Master lens, it's lightning fast. You can pretty much focus on the framings without worrying about any out of focus or camera movement, I guess. So I think it works perfectly, especially when you do not have a focus puller or even work with a smaller team. I understand that some of you guys must be thinking, so what's so special with these Sony FX3s besides than the name Cinema Line? And there are a lot of people saying that this camera shares the DNA from a7S III, and I must agree with that. But to me, the biggest difference between these two cameras is the ergonomic and design. So let's talk about design from the top. So now they have multiple screw holes on the top of this camera and also a very solid cold shoe mount. So it's very helpful for cageless design, and now you can mount extra accessory straight to the camera without any cage. In our case, we have mounted an extra monitor, the Atomos Ninja V, on our FX3 so that we have a better visibility and also unlock Apple ProRes RAW using a Ninja V. And I must tell you, the footage from the Ninja V was just amazing, and I can't wait to share this video to you. So remember to stay tuned. Next, the on-off button. So now they have relocated their on-off button from the shutter to the behind of the camera, and instead they replace it with a zoom control for a power zoom lens, or you can even use it as a clear zoom, which is amazing for run and gun shooter. Next, they have extra custom buttons. So right now they have 6 custom buttons. By default, it's a very filmmaking friendly design, because now you can easily lock and unlock the iris and ISO. You can easily choose your white balance, and also you can press the record button from front. Next is the big red record buttons and a very cool tele light. The lights appears on the buttons above the LCD screen, and also a big red border on the LCD screen, which is a great reminder if you're a person who always forgot to press the record button. The last physical difference between these two cameras is the additional fan for the FX3. So now it improved the overheat issue, and it's good because I did encounter some overheat issue with the a7S III during one of my wedding project. So what it happens is I shot 4K 30 frame and 60 frames per second continuously 2 hours in a warm weather in a temple. The overheat sign appears. It didn't turn off the camera straight away, but the body itself is extremely hot, and I'm worried because I'm middle of session. With the FX3, I think I'm much more confident with a situation like this, a similar situation like this. But I did encounter overheat issue during the commercial shoots. We shot continuous 4K 60 frames under the sun. It's a bit different situations. It's straight under the sun, and it's in Malaysia, which is very hot. So if you're shooting in a hot weather like Malaysia for 2 hours continuously, please be aware of that. So that's pretty much wrap up the external difference between these two cameras. So how about internally? So we took the test a step further between the a7S III and FX3. We don't really do a lab test, instead we do a more real-world environment kind of test. We took these two cameras into few different scenarios. Recently, we also did a color profile comparison using the a7S III. So it's between HLG3, S-Log3, and S-Cinetone. So if you are interested with that, feel free to check it out. How about the AF test? Is it as good as the a7S III, since Sony has marketed the FX3 as a cinema camera? In this simple walk test, I couldn't notice any big difference in terms of speeds, because these two seems good and fast for me, so I'll give it a try for that. How about the audio test? I understand that this is not really a common test, but I always think that it's good to have a good built-in audio. It's kind of a bonus for a camera. So we did a very simple test for the FX3 and a7S III. Now it's a sound test. The distance is going to be a 1 arm. We're going to start with the scripts. Sound level is 21, so it should be kind of neutral. So let's test the first test. So 1 finger means whisper, 2 finger means soft voice, 3 finger means full voice, 4 finger means loud voice, 5 finger means yelling voice. Surprisingly, the FX3 doesn't do a good job compared to a7S III in terms of audio, built-in audio quality. So I will advise you to get an external Pro Audio module, something like this, which comes with an FX3 if you purchase it. During the commercial shoot, I don't really use it because I would rather mount the external monitor straight to the FX3 instead of mounting onto the handles, because I feel it's not so convenient or comfortable for me to hold it if the monitor is on top of the audio handle. So I give it a pass on that. Overall, I love this camera, but there's no surprise because it shares more or less the same feature from the a7S III, which I like it a lot. Personally, I like the more rugged FX3 design, and it has the fans that's much more cooling. I really like the taillights when it records, and lastly, I like the design because now they kind of locate all the buttons to the right side of body, which can be very user-friendly for a filmmaker. So the question is it value for money, or is this cinema enough for you? Me personally, I wouldn't define FX3 as a cinema camera because it kind of lacks a few cinema features such as shutter angle, time code, internal RAW, and the list goes on depending on how you define a cinema camera. Value-wise, I will pick the a7S III than the FX3 if you are not looking for any audio adapter like this. But if your project requires additional audio internal or adapter, then I will pick the FX3. So there we have it. Hope you guys like this video. If you are into FX3, and we are going to create another FX3 in-depth review in our next video. So remember to subscribe our channel, and I hope you guys like this video. And as always, create and have fun. I'll see you guys in the next video.